Alright, trickers and trickers. Yeah. Time for the penultimate episode of View the Day with Half a Life. The USS Enterprise takes aboard Deanna Troy's eccentric mother, Lwaxana, and Dr. Timokin of Kalon 2. Timokin is brought aboard to conduct an experiment which he hopes will save his threatened home planet, and its sun is in a state of near collapse. The Federation enlists the Enterprise to take Timokin to his sun in a similar state of decay to conduct experiments which may yield a method for saving the Kalon system from destruction. Upon arrival at their destination, the crew assists Timokin in modifying photon torpedoes to launch into the proxy sun with the expectation that it will repair the damaged star and prove that the technique can be safely applied to the Kalon sun. The torpedoes are fired and, although the experiment seems initially to work, the effect is short-lived and the star explodes. The Enterprise returns to Kalon 2. Timokin is crushed, and after some questioning by Lwaxana, he reveals that there are other things troubling him. Timokin tells Luana that he is about to turn 60, and on Kalon 2, everyone who reaches that age performs the Resolution, a ritual act of voluntary euthanasia. Aww. Lwaxana is outraged to learn of this and brings it to the attention of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Picard makes it clear to Lwaxana that due to the Prime Directive, he will not interfere in the planet's local affairs. Lwaxana tries to beam herself down to the planet to halt the process herself, but she is thwarted by Deanna, who comforts her. After Lwaxana and Timokin spend an evening together, he tries to explain the custom of the Resolution. He tells her that at a fixed age had to be selected by the Kalons because just randomly choosing a time to die would be heartless. Lwaxana finds the practice barbaric and refuses to accept the Kalon tradition. She tells Timokin how a Beta-Zed woman on her planet successfully followed the tradition wearing ornate wigs that contained live captive birds. It only took one courageous woman to step forward and end this cruel tradition. Lwaxana also compares Timokin's plans to end his life with his research to save his star. If it is Timokin's time to die, Lwaxana argues, perhaps it's also time for his star to die as well, so why should he continue to try to prevent it? It's actually a fairly good question. Timokin thinks about what Lwaxana has told him. Timokin's analysis of the failed test turns up some promising options, but if he follows through with the Resolution, no one will have his experience and knowledge to carry on his work to save his world. Concerned, Timokin requests asylum on the Enterprise so that he can renounce the Resolution and continue his research. Good on you, dude. Petardad, the science minister on Kalon 2, is outraged after learning of Timokin's request for asylum. He sends up two warships to ensure that the Enterprise does not leave the system with Timokin on board. As Picard orders the bridge crew to analyze the offensive capabilities of the Kalonian ships, Timokin realizes that his situation is not as simple as he had hoped, for his home planet will not accept any further reports from him, and he is told that even if he does find a solution, they will not accept it. Well, that's mean. Dara, Timokin's daughter, beams aboard the Enterprise to insist that he return to Kalon 2 and undergo the Resolution. She tells him that she cannot bear the thought of him being laid to rest anywhere but next to her mother, and, although she loves him, she is ashamed of him. Timokin realizes that he is not the man to forge a cultural revolution and agrees to return to Kalon 2. Lwaxana, despite her disagreement, realizes that Timokin's decision is his to make. As it is the custom for loved ones to be present at the Resolution, Lwaxana beams down to be with him at his side at the time of his death. That's actually kind of sweet, I guess, so yeah. So anyway, let's look at some production elements here. Half a Life was the first Star Trek credit for writer Peter Allen Fields, who will later co-write The Inner Light with Morgan Gendel, before becoming a staff writer on Star Trek The Next Generation during Season 5. Prior to writing the script, Fields reviewed Haven and Manhunt, the two previous Lwaxana Troi episodes, but did not use them as references except to note Lwaxana's love of privilege. I realized that you give her as much as they'll let her have. She'll take it, he explained. Marita Sirtis, who played Lwaxana's daughter Deanna Troi in the show, thought that compared to earlier episodes, Half-Life showed a different side of her character's mother. Roxana's interactions in the episode, argues Sirtis, considerably broadened the character. Previous episodes had a tendency to become centered around Deanna and Roxana. Sirtis and director Les Landau felt that the plot of Half-Life resembled a morality play. Landau noted the similarity between the episode and the morality play-style plots that franchise creator Gene Roddenberry included in Star Trek the original series. Quote, "It deals with the whole issue of growing old and how society deals with the elderly, and, in my mind, it was one of the most pertinent storylines I have ever done," Landau recalled. The episode guest starred David Ogden Stiers, best known for his role as Major Charles Emerson Winchester III on the American television series MASH. Stiers, a fan of Star Trek Next Generation, was enthusiastic when the producers asked him if he would be interested in appearing on the show. On the set during production, Stiers met Gene Roddenberry, the series producer, and was invited to his house to practice scenes with Roddenberry's wife, Majel Barrett. Stiers described Roddenberry as, quote, "a grand old man, not in his behavior but in people's deference to him." Speaking highly of the story in Half-Life, Stiers indicated that the mood of the episode accentuated the debate over Timokhin's decision to end his life. Quote, "It was an emotionally involved piece. The script quite responsibly argued both sides of the suicide issue and left the viewer to determine whether such a practice is acceptable or not," Stiers said. That episode was more powerful than simply a discussion. Michelle Forbes makes her first The Next Generation appearance in Half-Life, and a performance which led directly to her later casting in the larger role of Ensign Ro Lauren, a recurring character from Season 5 onwards. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I would say this is a pretty good episode, and this is definitely a much better Lux and Troy episode than we've seen before. So, overall, I give Half-Life 4 warp cores out of 5. Will join me soon for the final episode of Review of the Day with The Host. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.